Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another installment of League Unlocked. That is Mark. My name is Eric. It is the weekend recap. The LEC is back, so we're busier than ever with all four major regions rolling on. And we like to ease into things, so we start with North America. And I say to you, Mark, they have the same record now. So how good is Team Liquid? They're just as good as Cloud9 according to the standings. How close are they actually to Cloud9?
Yeah, well, according to the standings, they are the same as Cloud9. But if you're watching and you've been watching this entirety of this split, there still is a gap. I would easily say that, especially when they're playing at their very best, which I think Team Liquid is pretty close to playing to their top level of potential that we've seen so far this split. Whereas Cloud9, especially in the last 2 weeks, we've seen them slip up, seen them not play to the level that we've seen from them exhibited all year long. Yes, I think that you need to take some stock into Cloud9 making these losses, having these mistakes. Certainly are things that you can't just brush aside, but still not enough for me to say that Team Liquid is out in front and ahead. But look, keep putting together these wins, keep playing as a squad all together, and maybe get Broxa a little bit more involved in some of these things, and we can be talking about a really strong Team Liquid.
I am perplexed how in a dragon fight, almost at 30 minutes, that your team wins, and you're there. He was in the pit. You don't get an assist. I don't know. That's actually impressive. Like, we need a frame-by-frame analysis of that fight to figure out how that
feel
happened.
At that point, you have to be trying to not get it at that point, because you're more likely just to get it by moving around.
Pacifist run is much harder to do, so respect.
Hey, still picking up the victories, everything considered. And yes, a couple of them in the past weeks have been shaky and have been more questionable about the level of play from everyone else in North America. But the record says Team Liquid picking up those wins. And as you asked in the question, I think they are just one step, maybe a step and a half behind Cloud9. But hey, we got a squad in North America looking to take that next step. And that's more than we could have said for a lot of this year.
Yeah, they've won 7 games in a row. The next highest in the LCS is 2. The Golden Guardians have won 2 in a row, so big clap for them. But yeah, I mean, all this really is doing is giving Cloud9 some actual competition. Another team that actually looks decent. I think Cloud9 is still leaps and bounds ahead of where Team Liquid wants to be. But Jensen, I think you're talking about first team All-Pro in terms of mid laners this split. Core JJ and Tactical. Tactical has absolutely filled the shoes of Doublelift without really missing a beat. Him and Core JJ have been great.
As I said, this is the big thing for Team Liquid. Jensen has been fantastic. Core JJ back to that world champion type of level and playing alongside Tactical, getting better, more comfortable, more experience every time he steps into that role for them when they're logging in to play these games. Getting Broxa to be more involved with the team, playing better, and impact as well on that top side. Those are the last keys that you need to turn on to make this engine absolutely roar for Team Liquid.
Now they go to 10-2, could potentially finish first in the regular season because Cloud9, the 100 Thieves loss, okay, they lose a game, it's fine. Evil Geniuses, okay, they lose another game, maybe they need to start playing cleaner, still not worried about them whatsoever. Maybe the rest of the league is just slowly stepping up. This was EG making the roster move, Huni coming in for Kumo, and Jizuke heads to Academy because you can't have 3 imports. So Golden Glue, the Swole Bros are reunited to take down their former squad, and EG looked pretty good. I could see this roster maybe being better than the Jizuke one.
I was a bit skeptical about this decision, this move happening. And when you're thinking, man, 3 days of practice coming in, and Jizuke had been such a big and such an important part of the wins that Evil Genius were picking up. This type of move took a lot of guts to make, and it absolutely pays off for Evil Genius with a massive victory over Cloud9. The changes worked. Golden Glue held it down in the mid lane. You put Huni on a champion like Gangplank, and he knows exactly what to do and how to hold out in that top side.
Karma,
none of that. And to say it even better, that yes, those were the big changes, but you gotta give props to your man Zazel for this game, absolutely making it a nightmare. Anytime Sven wanted to be anywhere he's trying to move, not a chance. absolutely taken care of that Ash, and it was game over for C9.
And the reason this game's a little different for me than the 100 Thieves one is Cloud9 actually had a gold lead. At 15 minutes, they were up, I think, almost 2,000 gold, and we are accustomed to seeing if they're up 800 gold around the 20-minute mark, the game's over. It's going to be snowballed so quickly, but they had this lead, and EG stayed close with them, and eventually, yeah, some of those engages by Zeyzal. Sven couldn't do anything in these team fights, but the fact that C9 had a gold lead and lost, okay, that's something for me.
Yeah, the interesting thing for me more so is that, yes, the 100 Thieves loss, we talked about the composition, the draft, execution. This one against Evil Geniuses was very clearly just Evil Geniuses being the team that was better and dictating on that day and in the game what was going to happen, how the fights were going to go down, where they were going to happen and when. And C9 was playing off of the back foot, which, look, we haven't seen them play off the back foot all year outside of these losses, and especially want to give props for the Evil Genius one because it looked more so on the side of Evil Geniuses being proactive than C9 slipping up.
But that's the practice that they need more than anything, because when you go internationally, you're not going to have huge gold leads at 15 minutes every game against other world-class teams. They need to get some games and some experience playing from behind. At least they got that against EG. So C9, Team Liquid, even EG, the good of the LCS. Okay, some of the bright spots. Now we got to get to a bit of the ugly, because according to the standings, Mike, Team Solo Mid is the third best team in North America. This team that showed up against FlyQuest is the third best team in North America, according to the standings.
And I want to be careful, because how much stock do you want to put into this FlyQuest loss? Because, yes, there is a lot of ugly and a lot of things that you're looking at, and some of them are trends, right, that have continued and been worrisome for some time. But, man, how many games are you going to have a performance from Spica that is that low at the beginning of the game, and then still give some props to this team for sticking in it to some point, and then you got to take all those points away for not taking the dragon out of the pit and letting Power of Evil just say, yoinks, I'll take that.
And then we'll take the soul a little bit later, if you don't mind. Just walk in with that. But, I mean,
not good.
That game was so doomed. Like, it was... I haven't seen a gold lead that big early on, unless it's Cloud9 playing, usually. And this is a FlyQuest team that was slumping, really. Wild Turtle came back to the lineup. He gets his 1,500th kill this weekend. And now FlyQuest join a bunch of squads now. 3 of them at 6-6 with EG and Golden Guardians. And TSM, even though they're 7-5, I feel like almost all 3 of the 6-6 teams I would take ahead of TSM right now.
Well, specifically in this matchup, I want to see more from FlyQuest. Need to see more positive side from them. I felt this was a lot of just TSM mistakes being taken care of by, I think, even a silver or gold level team would be able to capitalize on some of these mistakes and decision making that was happening. Because, man, it was ugly. If Twitch chat knows it and sees it before it happened, man, that's how you know you're in a bad spot. This is one of those ones where you look at the rest of the caliber of the teams, and it's not making me feel much better about the middle of the pack for North America.
At least Team Liquid is looking good. And if you thought the TSM FlyQuest game was ugly, quickly, the Golden Guardians versus Dignitas, I don't know what that was, but that was the biggest stomp. I can't even call it a stomp, because if you're beating up something that's already dead, it's not even really competition. Dignitas didn't play the game.
I'll tell you what, this was a question that was asked this weekend when we had a couple of fiestas also over in the LEC go on, a couple of big time throws, and people were asking, really, this, you guys make fun of North America, but what's going on over in the LEC? I tell you what, you watch those ones, you watch the Dignitas game, and the fiestas are of a different level of enjoyment here, because this isn't fun. This is not the fun level of fiesta to take care of. This isn't even entertaining, the level of fiesta. Oof.
We need a new word, because a fiesta is fun. It's there's something to celebrate. Celebrate the madness. This was just, you could feel it in the casters. Flowers at Azale were just like, I don't want this game, man. Can we? I don't want to be here. But the Guardians are 6-6. It actually looked pretty good. Dignitas, that's a whole other story.
I don't want to get into that story.
No, we're not getting there. The LEC though, it's a crazy time. in Europe, because I didn't think at the start of the split I would be asking you who's going to finish first in the regular season, Rogue or Mad Lions? Because those are your two bets right now.
You're not even thinking about those two being one of those answers. You might have liked to think about it, hope for it, see that type of change, see that potential, that growth. You didn't think it was going to happen, given the old guard at the top of the table of the LEC consistently. Too many mistakes from them. And yes, it is the battle for the very top between Rogue and the Mad Lions. And look, Rogue has been the one that we've been talking about being impressive this entirety of the summer split, taking that stride forward, giving us that next step in development that we wanted to see in spring that we didn't get. The Mad Lions absolutely continuing this meteoric rise, continuing all the way through spring, kept it going through summer. And look, the way they dismantled G2, the performance from Shadow on that Lee Sin, man, it felt like I was watching Tien on FPX.
I'm telling you, he just needed to flash the FPX emote. We know that always works well against G2. But, I mean, both of these squads have looked incredible at times. I think Larson is pretty much consensus the best mid laner in the LEC right now. I think you'd be hard-pressed to argue otherwise with how G2 has been performing.
The only other name, yeah, I was going to say, the only other name that you could put is Humanoid, and that's Mad Lions right up there. And again, that is just a testament to what these young teams have been able to do and how well they've played this summer split.
I feel like the Mad Lions are the front runners to finish first, just because how they've decimated some of these teams. And Rogue have gotten some huge leads as well. But just the play style of the Mad Lions seems to be more like G2, who has been what's dominated the LEC for so long. But both of these young squads, by the way, have looked absolutely incredible and are only upping the competition level across the board in the LEC. It's the new guard. They're coming because G2 is G0-2 again. And this is the biggest stomp in a weekend that I've seen G2 suffer with this roster. They got destroyed. They averaged 5 kills across 2 games, Mark. G2, 5 kills. They get that in 5 minutes usually.
And this is the situation where, look, you know the players, you know the history of this organization and how they're going to get it together. You have faith that they're going to still be strong, be one of these contenders. But at the same time, it's not even just about that faith anymore. It's about the actual schedule. It's about running out of time, running out of games to put yourself in the best type of situation possible. That is now the concern for G2 because, again, even if you're really cocky, even if you're thinking that you're the best ever, I don't think that you're wanting to put yourself in one of these positions where you got to climb all the way through playoffs, gauntlet type of situation. Just there's no need for this organization, these players to want to do that. But hey, you're running out of time. Got to start turning this ship around.
Yeah, they're G2 now 5-6 are a full 4 games behind Mad Lions and Rogue. And in terms of Mad, I mean, now that they won the later game in the split, they have that head-to-head in the 1-to-1 matchup. So it's
as much as we talked about caps and perks, it doesn't matter who is the ADC when it comes down to the matchup against the Mad Lions, because yes, Shadow is demolishing everybody, but Carzzy down in the bot side says, I don't care if it's caps, I don't care if it's perks. I've beaten G2 both times here, no problem.
It's just very difficult to fully pinpoint these issues with G2 because we know all of the stuff that's gone on behind the scenes, but this is a team that it just felt like they almost didn't even need to practice or scrim efficiently. They were just so in sync all the time, and they were all so mechanically gifted. It's just a whirlwind of different things that are going on, and I'm going to attribute it to getting a little bit stagnant because they've dominated Europe for so many splits. All those behind-the-scene things that I just mentioned, the COVID issues and things not being normal, and really the biggest one for me is just the rest of the competition stepping up in the LEC. Rogue and Mad Lions didn't expect them to be this good.
I was going to say, even the most hardcore of G2 fanboys and thinking that they're the best ever type of situation would have to acknowledge that, yes, the competition level, the way that the rest of Europe has played and tooled themselves up this season, absolutely has been in preparation for taking down a team like G2, a team at the caliber of G2 has played for the past 2 years. And that is obviously a testament to the success that you've had. But still, the question is, this is put to every big, great organization, every great team. How do you answer? How do you fight back now that they've had these changes? And that's what we're waiting to see from G2. And that response has got to be strong because the rest of the LEC has absolutely buffed up.
I'm concerned, absolutely, for G2, but I got to see them at best of fives. Again, I've said it countless times. I don't care if they slide in as a 6 seed in Europe. You don't want to match up against G2 as a 6 seed because all of a sudden, now they have something to prove. Now they're not these massive favorites on a pedestal. That's absolutely when they're going to show up. So I'm not counting them out at all until playoffs actually start, or they somehow miraculously miss out on playoffs. I can't imagine that happening. But a terrible 0-2 for G2 this week, and the complete opposite for Fnatic. Absolutely crystal clean, the most dominant 2-0 you've ever seen. No issues to even talk about with Fnatic, right?
Yeah, just sweep it on next. Just look for Fnatic to be replacing G2 and everyone else in EU in the power rankings this week, right?
Yeah, Fnatic's number one. Really nothing to look at. They didn't have the worst goal differential at 15 of anyone this week and still go 2-0. They didn't almost completely throw a game at Baron and give up a steal and 3 kills. No, that never happened.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is, if you're watching a little earlier, yeah. We were talking about the fiestas going on in the EU, and this is what we're talking about.
Fnatic has good fiestas, man. Those are the games you want to check out.
That's what I'm going to say. Like, yeah, absolutely entertaining fiestas, but certainly if we're critiquing, we're trying to look at where the power rankings are going to be, how much a Fnatic is going to take from this one. I don't think you're taking a ton out of these 2 games. Yes, you can give some credit to sticking through, and the mental aspects are absolutely big ones, and they do count. But the overall performance still is not trending in the way that you want.
Can I just say now, that's 2 games against Misfits that they're winning less than 5% of the time, and Fnatic won both of them. Now 2-0 against Misfits, and you all of a sudden throw 2 losses, and Fnatic's tied with Vitality and Excel at 4-7, and Misfits are alone in 3rd. So I don't know if Fnatic paid off Misfits. I don't know what's going on there. If there's some kind of curse, but that's a real feels bad for the Rabbit crew.
Well, look, it was a really bad 0-2 weekend for G2. This was going to be a catastrophic 0-2 weekend for Fnatic and where they were in the standings and how the trend had been going. So getting even just one of these fiestas stolen away is certainly something for them. But yeah, to happen again against Misfits, again to throw away such an incredible lead, that's not a feels good, man.
No, it's an ultimate feels bad. Now Fnatic are sitting tied with SK Gaming at 6-5, who also went 2-0. It was an easier schedule for them because they had Schalke on the docket, but nonetheless, they're sitting pretty in the playoffs. And one of the other big surprises in EU was Origin, and specifically Jack Troll. You saw Upset tweeting after the game, JD, Jack Troll difference, baby. Everyone, most people, they saw that signing and said, there are so many better academy players or in the EU minor regions. Like, bring them up. You're bringing Jack Troll, who was clearly the weak link of Vitality when he was on there. But listen, he was on point in both games this week. I was impressed.
This is one of the things that people forget that, yeah, when you think of his time on Vitality and how he performed, certainly not what you'd be wanting and certainly not what a team like Origin should be slotting in. But you think back to when there were brief periods of times of Jack Troll joining the team, of him slotting into that starting spot. Sometimes it had been that spark that the team had absolutely needed in their play style and just everything else, day-to-day interactions. That's clearly what is going on right now with Origin and Jack Troll. Is this sustainable? Are we going to see it for the next, weeks further on out? I don't know. I don't think you can answer that question even further. But all I do know right now is it absolutely is working off and paying greatly for the way that Origin wants to be playing and has provided them that look, that aggression that we've been asking for years from Origin.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that this roster has missed is a go button. And Jack Troll, you can't turn the go button off, which a lot of the time is the issues. He must looked up to Hillisag as a player because he's going. Doesn't matter if he's 0-5 or 0-8. He's going in, and that's exactly what Origin needs. They've been way too passive a lot of these games, and they were not passive this week. Their early game, they just snowballed, and that's something in itself. We haven't seen them snowball. They'll get leads, and then they just kind of fizzle out. That wasn't the case this week. 2-0 for them against pretty good competition in G2 and Misfits.
We've talked about these type of players over in the past. Most recently, one that we've talked about is someone like Blabber. Blabber is obviously operating at a much higher, more consistent level than we've seen from Jack in the past couple of years. But it's the same idea, right? It's the same aggression. It's the same go button that's going in. And if the rest of the team is understanding that this guy is the go button, this is who we're following in, this is the call, and they're all on top of it, it can be an overwhelming force for the other side. And that's exactly how I'm seeing it work right now for Origin with Jack Troll as that go button.
Hope they can keep it up going forward, because we know how tight the competition and the playoff and Worlds race is in Europe, when even teams like G2 and Fnatic are hovering on that bubble at the moment, which is something didn't think we'd be seeing. Speaking of potential world teams, we got to talk about Victory 5 from the LPL, because that might be a team that sneaks into one of those 4 spots from China, even though we had the hype train, it went to a bit of a stop today when they matched up against Invictus Gaming. But that Game 3 match, if you want peak LPL performance, fiesta in the best way possible, nonstop fighting, watch Game 3 between V5 and IG. It was very back and forth. Invictus finally got a vintage the Shy performance on Kennen. It's been a long time.
Look, this is the Victory 5 hype train, and I'll be the conductor for a second here, and I'll just let you know it's a maintenance stop, just a maintenance stop here. It's no problem. We're going to keep rolling on through on our hopeful trip to the final destination of a world's birth for Victory 5 and our savior PP God. But yes, a little bit of a maintenance derailment here against IG, and it is, as you said, all thanks to the Shy finally showing up when it counted for IG with a big time Game 3 teleport on that Kennen. And that is one of the most, again, Kennen can do this as a champion, but that skill there from the Shy, the timing coming through, it was of the Shy of old, and that is exactly what IG is needed.
Yeah, he got them kind of back into the game to get things rolling, and Puff closed things out on the Aphelios, finishing with 13 kills. Fun champion, by the way. And Balon has been starting on and off at times, and now he seems to be getting more.
That's world champion Balon. Let's put some respect.
He has a skin. Put some respect on his name. But he started all 3 games here, and you know what? We make fun of him a lot, especially because of Jackie Love. He's actually looked pretty good in the games he's suited up for IG this split.
Man, he looked really great this past matchup against Victory 5, and that's all you can ask for right now. And look, if IG wants to go back to a little bit of comfort, something like that, a little bit more veterancy down in the bot side, I've got no complaints with it when it works out to that matter. I'm not Jackie Love. I've got no problems with Balon.
Yeah, you know, Balon has looked better than Southwind, a little bit more consistent. Ning is less of a coin flip. The Shy's back in form. Rookie's consistent. Man, imagine if they could get a guy like Jackie Love on this roster. Man, they'd be pretty good.
No Jackie Love. They almost even had Uzi for this summer's split. It could have been the big time dream, but you know what? We've still got a lot of good things going on in the LPL. I'll settle for Rookie showing up. Not Rookie, sorry, excuse me. Rookie's always showed up for IG. The Shy finally starting to also show up in this summer split.
And IG, we've criticized them a lot this split. They haven't had many clean wins. 8 of their 13 series that they've played have gone to 3 games. They've dropped a lot of games to some scrubby teams in the LPL. But despite all that, they're 10-3. They're second overall in the league with the best record behind Top, who are 9-1. So even though it's not the cleanest, they're still winning.
Hey, as much as I was hoping for and praying for a bit of a upset to continue the Victory 5 PP God hype train, I will say that when you look at the schedule this week for the LPL, IG picking up this win with a big-time showdown heading up against Top eSports later on this week. This is exactly what you needed for the hype train for that matchup to go way into overdrive. So I'm all about that one, giving us another big time showdown at the end of the week for the LPL.
Sunday, match 2 is that top versus IG matchup. Definitely looking forward to that. I was looking forward to JDG versus FPX. This felt like a perfect game for Fun Plus. Okay, you get 2-0'd by Rogue Warriors. Perfect bounce back against the hottest team in the LPL if we're talking strictly win streaks in JDG. But it ends up being a pretty clean 2-0 for JDG. They look great. The win streak moves to 8 now. Kanavi and Zoom continue to perform well. Loken is performing better than most people thought, myself included. And FPX, I don't know what's going on there. I don't really know what the issues are.
You said the win streak continues for JDG, and the loss streak continues for FPX, and now it's getting into
4 in a row.
Now you're getting into the territory again, like we talked about with G2 to some degree, where you have faith in these players, you have faith in the organization, finding a way to turn it around, be competitive, be strong. But at the same time, you're starting to run out of time. You're running out of the schedule here at this point. And again, this is not a problem for North America because of the way the competition is working. This is a problem when you're in the LEC. This is a problem when you're in the LPL because of the competition in that mid to top tier is so severe, so strong. You miss out a week, you miss out another week here, you might be way too far behind to catch up.
Not only have they lost 4 series in a row, they've only won a single game in those 4 series, and that was against Vici. Top 2-0'd them. Rogue Warriors 2-0'd them. Now JDG 2-0'd them. I don't know if they're going to bring back Gimgoon. Maybe they feel like some kind of roster change will help them out, but they're outside of the playoff picture right now. At 5-6, Vici's 5-5 and holding that final playoff spot. Fully expect them to at least make playoffs, but I don't have the confidence in them making a deep run, and it's not like they won the spring split, so they have all these championship points to just automatically qualify. A best of 5 against some of these top teams in the LPL, I just don't trust them right now.
And that's the very scary thing, right? Is that, yes, we're talking about getting it together. You know, you need to be running out of time in the schedule. That's not just running out of time on the schedule to get it together to make sure you're going to Worlds. This is just to make it into the playoffs for summer at this point right now for FPX. And that would be a massive, massive blunder from this roster and these players to miss out on that.
They're now 13-15 in overall game score. Sub 500, 4 in a row. Not what you want to be seeing. If you're a fan of Gen G, though, it's what you want to be seeing because they broke it. The mental barrier, blockade barrier, whatever you want to call it. They beat T1. Clid gets a little bit of revenge against his former squad. Doesn't quite make up for getting 0-3'd in the spring finals. But Gen G 2-0 T1 over the weekend. Pretty convincing fashion. And the question marks are still hovering around T1.
You still have the questions for T1, but quickly on Gen G, it's great for them. And this is a big one that you can put in your pocket. And this is something that I believe in a lot and talk about here is the mental aspect, right? How much of a mental edge you can get from these type of things. Thinking about now heading into any of these series, you don't have that cloud over your head of, man, we can't solve T1. We can't get by them. Even if you got by them here in a hard fought, a 3-game series, you'd still be like, man, they still really pushed us. This was a clear cut 2-0 performance that you dominated in as well to answer against T1 to say, look, yeah, when we're on our game, guys, when we're all rolling through, we absolutely can pump them. They ain't nothing to be scared about. And that is a huge, huge mental benefit for the side of Gen G heading into the future of this year.
Yeah, and they don't play again in the regular season, at least. This is the second time that they have met up. And really, it just distances T1 even more from that top 3. They're now 6-4. Gen G and Damwon both 8-2. Dragon X 9-1 after their win against Team Dynamics. So top 3 seems almost impossible now for T1 to get, unless there's some big slip-ups from the current top 3.
That's now the unfortunate situation that this slide has put T1 into, is that as far as the seeding goes for playoffs and everything left here in the summer split, you really are now at not just the mercy of what you're going to be able to accomplish, but what the other teams are doing and their results. You might need a little bit of help to climb as high as you'd like to, or give yourself one extra, match off type of situation could be what you're trying to fight for.
And we've seen what Damwon, at least, is doing to the bottom 7 teams in the LCK. If you're not DRX or Gen G, the only teams that have beaten them, even T1, they pump pretty handily. Damwon looks like an absolute menace on the Rift. It would be insane for the odd team out of Worlds from the LCK to be T1. This split, I'm still pretty confident they'll make a pretty sizable playoff run. But for now, things looking a little suspect. And the trio of Showmaker, BDD, and Chovy are playing at some of the highest levels of mid lane that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's an absolute clinic from those three. It doesn't matter which one it is. I promise you, you're seeing a top tier world level talent in the mid lane coming through from those teams. And as you said, it is that top three that seems pretty set. And then there's T1, and then there's Afrika as that real cutoff. Yes, KT and these other squads kind of nibbling right at the back end, trying to make their best to push through. I think when you watch them play, there's a clear-cut difference between them and this top 5 section. And even in that top 5, clear cut between the 5 to 3 numbers. And that is the question for T1. You got to put up better performances to get towards that top 3 level, because right now, absolutely cannot include you in that.
Yeah, there's clear tiers in the LCK right now, but we know that all gets flipped upside down when playoffs do roll around, and we're just a few weeks away from that. But that is all to the time today for League Unlocked. That is Mark. My name's Eric. Thank you guys for chilling with us as always, and we will catch you guys and gals on that flippity flop.